What's up? This is Ryan with Planet Cheapskate. In this video, we're going to be talking all about the closing disclosure. What is the closing disclosure? What is the purpose of the closing disclosure? And the closing disclosure's relation to the loan estimate. And finally, we will be going through a CD, which is what we shorten the closing disclosure to in the industry. We're going to be walking through a complete CD example to teach you everything you need to know to be looking out for when you are presented with your closing disclosure. Also, be sure to stick around for a very valuable loan hack regarding the closing disclosure at the end of this video that'll help you get to the closing table faster without any unnecessary delays. But first, I'd just like to take a very brief moment to personally invite you to subscribe and join our community. I do a home loan rate update every Friday going into the weekend, along with a new video every Thursday helping you manage through the world of real estate and home loans. Also, when you do subscribe, be sure to hit that little bell and it'll alert you whenever I release fresh content. Now, with all that out of the way, let's get right to it. So you've battled through the loan process and have finally received your golden ticket, clear to close. You think the struggle's over, but there's one last challenge to conquer, and that is understanding your closing disclosure. The closing disclosure is one of the most important documents to understand in your closing package. While it's mostly downhill from your clear to close, there is many important things to understand regarding your closing disclosure. So what is the closing disclosure? The closing disclosure is a 5-page form that describes in detail the critical points of your mortgage loan, including purchase price, loan fees, interest rate, estimated real estate taxes and insurance, closing cost, and other expenses. This document is standardized among all lenders to make the information easy to understand. It also makes it easy to compare the closing disclosure to your last received loan estimate. So a very important detail here is the lender must provide you with the closing disclosure at least 3 days before your closing. Now, the purpose of the closing disclosure is very important as it's one of the final forms you received before you close on your new loan. The closing disclosure will list the terms, the cost associated with your mortgage, allowing you to compare them to those listed on your loan estimate form you were given at the beginning of the loan process. Like all mortgage forms, the closing disclosure can be overwhelming to review, especially if you're not sure what to look out for. And that is why here, pretty quick, we're going to be going over an example closing disclosure together so I can explain all the ins and outs of this very important document. Now, one of the most important things to remember about the closing disclosure is that by law, it is required to be received and acknowledged by you at least 3 business days before you close. Now, this includes Monday through Saturday, and there is nothing anyone can do to get rid of this 3-day waiting period. Not your lender, not your loan officer, not your realtor, not even Batman can get past this 3-day requirement. So that is why the loan hack this week is solid gold, and you're definitely not going to want to miss out on that. So stay tuned. So it's important to understand on your closing disclosure what fees are allowed to change from your loan estimate and what fees are not allowed to change. I'm going to go over those now so you have a reference you can come back to when you compare your last received loan estimate to your closing disclosure. There are basically 3 types of fees on your closing disclosure. There are fees that can change by any amount, there are fees that cannot change at all, and there are fees that can change by up to 10%. So the fees that can change by any amount, these include prepaid interest, homeowner's insurance premium, initial escrow deposits, third-party fees not required by the lender, and fees required by the lender that you were free to shop around for yourself, whether you ended up going with the lender suggestions or not. Second, fees that may not change, and these include any fees paid directly to the lender, brokerage, or loan officer, fees that were required by the lender that you were not allowed to shop for, and any transfer taxes. Finally, fees that are allowed to increase by up to 10%, and these include recording fees, title fees, fees that are required for services performed by a third-party provider. So that kind of sums it up, and that should be the complete rundown of the fee change allowances between the loan estimate and the closing disclosure. So now that I've explained the definition, the purpose of the closing disclosure, I'm going to switch to screen share so we can go over a sample closing disclosure together. Now, once we went through it thoroughly, we'll come back for a very valuable closing disclosure loan hack and then wrap things up. Hey guys, Ryan here with Planet Cheapskate, and we're behind the screen and just wanted to go over a few things with you on the closing disclosure. So up here at the top, you're going to see some important information. You're going to see the title company, date issued. This should be your closing date. This is going to be the property, the price. This is going to be your information, the seller's information, whatever lender you're using. These are going to be the terms of your loan. Just check and verify and make sure all those are correct. This is going to be your loan amount, your interest rate. This is going to be your monthly principal and interest. So the principal is basically the money that you are borrowing. The interest is the cost at which you are borrowing it by. Again, this is a little bit similar to the loan estimate, but you're going to see if there's any negative features, they're going to be right here. This is going to be your payment calculation for the term of your loan. As you can see on this loan, it looks like it starts out with mortgage insurance, and then after year 8, it looks like the mortgage insurance falls off, probably because they've reached the 78 or 80% loan to value to where there's no mortgage insurance anymore. So again, if you take this number here, which is your escrow amount, and you add it to this number, you should have your total monthly payment right here. This is going to be a breakdown of your closing costs, and that completes the first page. On the second page here, you're going to have a breakdown of all your fees. This is the origination charge. These are the fees that are not allowed to change. These are the fees that may change, but more than likely will not change. These are the fees that can change here. These are the fees that can change up to 10% right here typically. And then these are going to be fees that could possibly change, that are allowed to change as much as needed. So that should be a breakdown there for you on those, but this whole page is going to be a breakdown of your fees, and these are going to be totals for you here. This is going to be your closing costs total. If you get any lender credits, it's going to be here, and that completes the second page. Third page is going to have a little bit of a breakdown as far as how the closing disclosure varies from the loan estimate, and make sure that everything is in compliance here. And if something did change, it's going to notify you, and it's going to let you know basically that it's allowed, or if it wasn't allowed, then it's going to be fixed by the time you got to this point. Here's another kind of breakdown of the cost. This is just breaking it down into another way. It's going to have any deposit you put down. It's going to have your loan amount. Up here, it's going to have the sales price, closing costs, and right here is going to have your county or city taxes. Now, if they're billed in the arrears, you'll probably receive a credit. If they are billed in advance, you're probably going to be giving a credit to the seller. But it does have two sides to it. It has the borrower side and the seller side to it, so it's pretty convenient because it breaks down everything there. It's going to tell you like how much you need to bring to the table or how much you'll be receiving, so from or to, and then it also breaks down how much the seller will be receiving or how much will be due from the seller. Okay, this fourth page is going to have different details about your loan, whether or not you are allowed to sell this note, so basically someone can assume this loan from you. And it's going to say if it has a demand feature where certain circumstances your lender can demand the full payment. Most of the time it does not. This is going to be your late payment details. And then here it's going to tell you whether your loan has negative amortization or not, and whether your lender is going to take partial payments. And this is going to break down your escrow account. So just a lot of important details here that you need to just go over and read at your own discretion. Okay, loan calculations is going to break down the total amount of your payments altogether. This includes your principal and your interest. So it is kind of sad to see because you're paying almost half in interest, but it's just kind of the name of the game with a mortgage. That's why it's important to term down. This is going to be your annual percentage rate. This is only really important for the first year. After that, it's going to be strictly just your interest rate that's important. This is important to compare fees if you want to compare fees with the lender's total interest percentage rate. This is over the course of the loan. Again, kind of a sad number. A a number that reminds you that you do need to refinance and term down when possible. This is going to be other details of your loan. If you did have an appraisal, that it was required to be shown to you at least 3 days before your closing. This is going to tell you that it's important to look at your contract and find out the details of that, and then different rules and everything about the foreclosure. This is going to be that it may or may not suit you to refinance, and then any tax deductions you may be able to take advantage of. If you have any questions, you can direct those here. And then this is going to be contact information. It's going to have your lender. If you did use a broker, they're going to be here. Your real estate broker both on the buyer and the seller side, and then the title company. And you're going to be sorry about that. Mouse kind of went crazy. You're going to be required to sign and date this at your closing. But that should be it. I just wanted to go over as quickly as possible, and so you understood it. If you guys have any questions, just leave them in the comments below, and I'll try to answer anything that you may be wondering. But that is the closing disclosure. If you do want to go over this yourself, and there is a kind of an interactive guide that they do here at the consumerfinance.gov, but the address is right here at consumerfinance.gov, owning a home /closing disclosure. So you can check it out yourself. But hope you guys enjoyed this walkthrough, and again, if you have any questions, just leave them in the box below. All right, take care. So as promised, a closing disclosure based loan hack that will get your loan closed quicker without any unnecessary delays. So we all know that if the closing disclosure hasn't gone out, it'll always mean a 3-day wait, and no one can change that. So the top loan hack to prevent the CD from delaying your close is to do your best to help your lender get out what's called an early CD. And what you'll need to do for this is to be on top of getting the loan processor your homeowner's insurance information, to request your processor get the appraisal invoice, title fees, and early preliminary CD from the title. Now, if you're able to round all this up and get these things together, most lenders will allow you to get an early CD out to prevent your closing from being delayed by the TRID 3-day wait rule. You may have to stay on top of your loan officer or processor to get the early CD out, but don't give up. Keep on them. This is a very important detail. So there you have it, everything you need to know about the closing disclosure, along with a loan hack that will help you wrap up your loan much quicker and get your keys at the very least 3 days sooner. Please leave a comment below if I missed anything or you have any questions. I'd love to hear from you. And also, if you gained value or knowledge from this, do me a huge favor and smash that like button so more people just like you can see this information. And if you like this video, I'd like to invite you to watch one of my other videos. Over here, I walk you through the complete home buying process step by step. And over here, YouTube has determined that you may enjoy this video. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time, best of luck.